Hello. All right, I don't know if I can be heard or what. Okay, I see the mic moving, so it's working. Cool beans. Um. All right. So one thing that I was wanting to talk about is some things. It's just some ramblings and stuff like that. Some things going on. One things I was wanting to talk about is let's take a look at some stuff. First and foremost, we're trying to work on some projects, and I'm getting screen pop-ups from something that I don't know what it is. And I can't close out of it because it disappeared. I may be getting hacked as we know it. Um so the Hills review that's going to be coming out, I don't know when that's going to be coming out on the next episode at all. I don't know if we're going to do it Monday before going to work or something like that. I don't know. But I'm going to have to keep my head on a swivel on that and see how that goes. So that's that on there. So the one thing that I had on here is I got the Knights of the Old Republic as the game that I'm got pulled that I want to talk about, and everybody was kind of worried about the remastered and everything like that. If the remaster is going to be worth a darn, if it's going to be worth getting. Honestly, it's too early to tell, and I think a lot of people are afraid of change. And they're afraid. I mean, I'm afraid of change on a lot of stuff, but I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that Knights of the Old Republic, when it came out in 2003, it was, in a way, it was revolutionary because it had a story to it and it had an aha moment. And if you haven't played the original Knights of the Old Republic, played the game by now, I'm going to do my best, but you definitely check it out. It did have a slow build. The game about slow build is you start off at the actual ship, and you wake up and your ship is getting damaged, and you go through this tutorial. Now this tutorial you go through is basically to show you how to use some of the features. It's almost like, in a way, what they did was they took a D&D style tabletop game, a Dungeons and Dragons tabletop game, and they put those type of specs in there. So you kind of create what you need to do as far as your dexterity, your willpower, your strength, and all this other stuff. And of course, you get to create your character. And you get to create your character. And of course, you had a couple of black faces you could choose. You had a couple of Asian faces you can choose, a couple of Caucasian faces you can choose, maybe a Mexican face you could choose as well. But your the three people, I think it was three, maybe been three or maybe been four, but it was Sentinel. Anyways, these classes you chose at the very beginning of the game determined on what you was going to be, what the outcome was going to be, and what kind of lightsaber, not really lightsaber you was going to get, but just what kind of thing you was going to do. So you go through this tutorial, and the ship is getting attacked, okay? And you're going through all this little minuscule stuff. You're getting told, check your locker boxes. There's some stuff in there. Make sure you go up and, make sure you do this and do that. Press A to close down the menu. Anyways, the game it starts a hint. Basila, who ends up being, I didn't know this though at the time, is done by the voice of Jennifer Hale. I had no freaking idea. The same one that's done the voice in Ratchet and Ratchet and Clank Shift in Time or Rift in Time, and also the voice in God Ascension. She is one of the sisters Actually, one of the main bosses that you have to fight at the end on God of War Ascension. That was on PS3. And anyways, I didn't know that she voiced that, and I thought that was pretty cool. She's pretty cool on Twitter too. So if you get a chance to hit her up on Twitter, definitely hit her up. But the game in itself, the storytelling, the way, the dynamic, the characters, and all this stuff was really, really impressive, actually. Matter of fact, it was one of the games that I bought. And I didn't really get online very much because at the time I did have friends. I just didn't have online friends. So I wasn't really playing the Halo 3 or all that stuff. I mean, I got Halo 3 eventually, but that was way on down the line. But I liked my wrestling games and I liked RPGs. That's what I went with. If I was covered in those areas, I was good. And the thing is, I wanted to play Star Wars: The Knights of the Old Republic, the PC version, the one that actually is the MMO. I never did get to play that. And I remember my friend Lonnie, Jaco, and who was really into that game. Another person that got him into game was Robert Smith, who was into that game. And that ended up being the game that they tried out to see if they liked or whatever he did like, because he would always rave about it. But the arc in that game was pretty phenomenal, like the storyline and all that stuff. Now, this is before you got DLC content. DLC content wasn't very big and wasn't very, it wasn't something that people paid a lot of money for. Because it wasn't really new. Back then, if you wanted, new maps or new something like that, they would have you actually pay for the disc and you'd go to the store, download the disc or whatever. But the only downloadable content it had, and then they got rid of it when they did this re-release on it on Xbox. The only downloadable thing it had was, and it didn't charge you for it, but it was the crystal. It was some type of crystal or some type of thing that you could put in your sword or your lightsaber and make it, I don't know if it was more powerful or anything, but that was one of the only DLCs it had, and it really wasn't a DLC. But they didn't carry it on when they relaunched the other game. The other thing is that the fact that you was able to manipulate people on here. I had a friend of mine, Scott Cook, who he would play that game and he would have his Sith level all the way up before he even left after the ship or whatever. Not after the ship, but pretty much after he left the first interaction, which was actually pretty cool. And it was actually kind of like, wow, okay. But his play style and my play style was entirely different. I played the game so much, though, that I'd always have to rebuy a new copy. And the reason why I had to buy a new copy, because at that time, when you play a game so much, believe it or not, they do DVDs or CD-ROMs, whatever, they do get scratches in them. Because the more you play them, the more those laser lines are constantly reading that same thing. And eventually that laser line makes a difference and scratches it scratches it up. It did in my case, to the point where my thing was unplayable. So that Star Wars Knights of the Republic was pretty good. I chose the game here to be Star Wars Knights of the Republic because that's where I want to start off at. But I'm also going to go into other ones that I played with the Knights of the Old Republic that was pretty cool. The other one that I played, now I'm going to try to stay on topic as much as I can. Please forgive me on this. The Knights of the Old Republic had a diverse character. It had diverse interactions. All the characters weren't the same. Not every character wanted to be your buddy. Matter of fact, a lot of them. And when you're playing this game, you're kind of wondering why. I think his name is Cartel. It's not Cartel. It's hold on, guys. Let me pull up this other window. All right, we're going to bring this over here. And we are going to minimize this. Move this over here so I can at least see the stream. And then on here, we're going to bring up, we're going to do Knights, or we just could say KOTOR. All right, so as we're going through this here, this is something I'm doing, and I'm sorry if it's jumping around. I'm having to wait late at night to even do anything that I want to do. I got other stuff going on. I'm clicking, as you can probably hear. Well, now, you pull this up, and I'm not getting. All right. Trying to pull them up, and I can't quite hit them all. I'm going to do Knights of the Old Republic wiki and see if I get something there. If we do, that'll be good. But there's a plethora of characters you get. Apparently I did this and oh gosh, apparently there's a place called KOTOR. All right, whatever. Knights. All right, so this is what we do. All right, so one of the characters that you get introduced to is Karth. That's who it is. I think it's Karth. And he from Jump, he does not like you. Honestly, he does not trust you. He does not, and there's a reason why he don't trust you. Like there's like a gut instinct of why he don't. And there's a reason. There is a definite reason why he don't trust you, but we'll get into that in a little bit. But he's very it's like he's pretty much taking on the fact that he's got to watch over you. So as far as he knows, you're in this group thing, and for some reason, he's got to watch over you. He don't know why he's watching over you. So he tells you have to go save Bastila. And it's this big deal because you have to save her, and she's the only Jedi, and you have to save her for some reason or she gets captured, and you have to stop that from happening. Meanwhile, on this ship, you're actually getting hit with different, you're seeing Jedis do certain battles with certain Sith Lords. Not really Sith Lords, but, Sith, definitely the Jedis versus the Sith and stuff. And you're like, wow, that's pretty cool. But your character has to move on because you're trying to leave that ship in the midst of you're trying to find you're still trying to find Bastila. You don't know where she is or whatnot. Well, needless to say, you make it to this the general that was walking you through and stuff, and Karth, pretty much he ends up buying you time so you can get into an escape pod. Now you get in this escape pod and you land in this other planet. Now, when you land in this other planet, what's pretty apparent is that you're not well liked. So you wake up after having a dream about something. You having a dream and you wake up in the bed of something, and Karth is like, I wondered when you was going to wake up and stuff. And all these people are trying to influence you and do certain things. But when you step out of the room and stuff, immediately you have a first interaction where you see these two individuals squabbling over something, I think. And you can either choose to help them or not choose to help them, or you could choose to act like you're going to help them, then turn on both of them. It's whatever you want to do. That's where you start getting your Jedi points and your Sith points, your red or blue. Now, I'm not going to go every detail in this game, but this is where the environment and everything else like that, and you have to go to point A to point B and everything like that. But the whole time you're playing that game, you're thinking, man, I want this better weapon. I want a better weapon. And eventually you get a better weapon and you create it and everything else like that. But the cool thing about this is, and I'm wondering if they're going to induce, but it was the instead of the Millennium Falcon, it was called something else. I forget the ship's name. We're going to see what we can pull up here. But yeah, you get all this other stuff and you learn. And I'm clicking on this here. I did find the wiki finally. It only took me 17 minutes and 49 seconds. Now I pulled this up here now. What's crazy about this is not many people know. I mean, some people know this, but Obsidian Entertainment actually helped do this. They helped do Knights of the Old Republic Sith Lords. And what's crazy about that is because, you know, I don't understand why. I don't understand why Xbox didn't try to get this and acquire this. I think, honestly, Xbox was like, it could have been the fact that this Aspire wanted too much money, and rightfully effing so. But the one thing, and I know this is deviating from what I was talking about with the Star Knights of the Republic, but I want to say this. The one thing that Xbox lacks right now, yes, they got games. But the one thing people cannot deny, even as I am an Xbox fan and I'm a Sony fan, how is that so? Because there is an itch that you're going to get on Sony that you're not going to get on Xbox. Good storytelling, good plot lines, good swerves. I mean, they are bar none good on storylines. Good. Okay, and there's things on Xbox you're not going to get on PlayStation. Game Pass. But the things you're not going to get on Xbox, you're not going to get on PlayStation is you're just going to get overall a better community. Overall, they do have good games, but they only focus on a few games. They don't focus on story. Like the closest we got to Uncharted on Xbox was the Lara Croft series by Crystal Dynamics and Square Enix. That's the reason why that did so well, because that was the game that had a different storyline. It had something that a lot of people didn't get to play unless they played Uncharted. You got Last of Us 1 and 2 that was on PlayStation that was really good that you're not going to get on Xbox. But anyways, back to what I'm saying. The reason why I bring that up is because it would have been really awesome had Xbox acquired Knights of the Old Republic for the remake. However, they didn't. So I thought it was going to be a third-party thing, but apparently it's not. It's actually an exclusive for Sony. So if there's any reason that I'm probably going to try to get the PlayStation 5 Pro, it's probably going to be it's definitely going to be closer to time of launch, which in time, if that's the case, you could very well end up seeing a Knights of the Old Republic video console, collector's edition, which would be cool in itself. But let's go over this right quick. So Knights of the Old Republic is an RPG video game series based on an early comic book series and with subsequent new comic book series, all based on fictional universe of the Star Wars by George Lucas. The first and third video games installments were developed by BioWare. Okay, now let's not get this twisted. The third installment was an MMO game. Okay. People had bought a 360 to hopefully get a Knights of the Old Republic 3. However, they did not. They ended up getting a Knights of the Old Republic. It was an MMO game, and it came exclusively on the PC, which was kind of a bummer because I'd like to play that, but that game looks highly complicated. Based on fictional series, the first and third video games installments. Now, the first two were exclusively on Xbox and PC. PlayStation did not get those. Were developed by BioWare, and while the second was done by Obsidian Entertainment per LucasArts request. Did not know that. All were published by LucasArts. Both comic series were published by Dark Horse Comics. Both series act as prequels to the video games. With the discarding of the expanded universe on April 25th, 2014, and rebranding it to Star Wars Legends, Knights of the Old Republic Multimedia Project, is the only remaining source that continues to pronounce Legends information. The Legends part is basically Disney, since they bought Lucas. Basically, their way of saying it's not canon. And the combat was round based. So, anyways, so this game has potential. I mean, it was a good game to begin with. It has a great potential on this. There's a lot of things that can be looked at this that people can take from this and get hyped about. I'm hyped about it as well. But I honestly think that, in all honesty, Xbox should have acquired this. They should have taken note. But I think that there's a reason why they weren't able to get it. Because here's the thing. If the Xbox would have spent all their money on this Aspire thing, okay? Because we don't know how much Sony spent on this. That's money that Xbox would be taken out of putting investments in what they've already purchased. See, in a way, it's like a Monopoly game. Let's think of a Monopoly game. You buy up every little nick and cranny that comes in, right? And eventually what comes down to is there'll be one that you want to get, and you're not going to be able to get it because you don't have any money. I'm not saying Microsoft run out of money. I'm just saying with what they've invested in and what they've bought, that money needs to go in a circle. It needs to come out, but it needs to filter its way back into the realm of what they're doing. So if they were to spend whatever this exorbitant amount was to acquire this IP that they don't really own, first and foremost, let's be real here, because the only reason Mass Effect 1 and 2, and 3 got done was because of the fact that LucasArts told them not to do another Knights of the Old Republic. That's the only effing reason that ever happened. Had it not been for that, we would have probably never got a Mass Effect. Now, I could be wrong. I've been wrong before, but I think that's a lot to do with why we got a Mass Effect, because the Mass Effect kind of played in the same roles and the same outfit, the same ideas as Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. The only problem is with Mass Effect coming out, it got to see whether BioWare was good at ending a trilogy, because they didn't get to end a trilogy with Knights of the Old Republic. They didn't get to come out with another game. Anyways, that being said, going on 27 minutes here, but as that being said, though, so with Xbox, if they were to sit there and acquire that IP, yes, that would be awesome. Yes, that would be freaking phenomenal. However, that's money they're taking out what they could be putting back in to help these other companies that they just purchased to grow and flourish on these game development stuff. So, see, they're looking at the future and not momentarily. See, Knights of the Republic remake is going to be probably an awesome game. An awesome game. But Sony don't own that studio. So with that being said, I'm thinking as far as they know, this is PlayStation's right now. But I can see this later on down the road coming to Xbox. But Xbox has got to focus with what they've already built on games. And I want to see newer games. I love Gears of War. I love Halo. But I'm honestly, despite what Mighty Keith thinks, not every person on Xbox is going Halo Infinite. Halo Infinite, man. We about to Halo Infinite and then driving in a fake car. He's got some good skits. But there's just not... There's times that new IPs come out, like Cyberpunk. You go and you take a chance with it, and you go with it, right? And because of things in the background that can't be foreseen, things that you don't have control of, and even as gamers, we buy into the hype. And this is a shot in the dark. This is a remake. Yes, it's got the past clout going with them, which is awesome. But now they got to prove themselves, because when they get done with doing this, the Knights of the Old Republic, hopefully they're able to do a 1, a 2, and a 3 and do their own thing. But the Knights of the Old Republic, in my opinion, the remake is going to be awesome. It's definitely going to be one. It's definitely going to be a system seller for me. I'm not going to lie. I'm definitely going to want to get it. And Sony, being like they are, they're going to milk the crap out of it. But as I'm wrapping this up here, because we're about at 30 minutes, guys, I want to thank those who took time to watch this, my rambling, my rants. The Knights of the Old Republic game, I've just given a synopsis. I didn't want to say too much. If you haven't checked out this game, highly recommend it. That's all I can say. What I'll do next time I get a chance is I will talk about Knights of the Old Republic 2 and how it was different. And we'll go from there. Guys. So anyways, be sure to hit that like button, share it amongst your friends, rate, comment, subscribe, and as always, break every chain. Thank you, guys.